Welcome to Everyday Profits, where we talk mindset, abundance, wealth creation, and building the life of your dreams. Hello, and welcome back to another video for Everyday Profits. I'm so excited to be back with you. I haven't actually had a chance to do any filming, any recording for quite a few weeks. We've had a lot going on. I just wanted to say, if you want to find out more about what we do with our lives, with our investments, with our journey, full stop, we do have another podcast that my husband and I record together called Invest Out West. And the episode that's getting released, this week, we're in the last week of April at time of recording this, we're going to talk about the events that has happened already for 2026. It has been mind-blowing. 2026 has already been a whirlwind year. We're only in April. It's been absolutely incredible. So yeah, if you want to understand deeper about what we invest in, how we do it, the different strategies that we have, please look up Invest Out West and you can find out more information there. But today, what do I want to share with you today? Today, I want to go into a little bit about what faith looks like and how important faith is for our everyday lives, for our ambition, for our goals, for our dreams, for the whole kit and caboodle that comes with being an aspirational, like with having these aspirational dreams and these stories that come with our life. I regularly listen to Bob Proctor. He is one of my I would say he's probably my favorite mentor. He shares some incredible ideas, some incredible insights, some incredible motivational stories to help us to build up our mindset and to build up the belief in ourselves about how we are responsible for our lives and how we can change our own lives. And the other day I was listening to him and he was speaking of faith, and I'm like, this is such a powerful message that I wanted to share this with my audience, with my listeners and my followers. So Bob specifically says, faith is the ability to see the invisible and to believe in the incredible. And when you sit back and think, yeah, okay, that is the precise definition of faith. It is to see the invisible. I'm a Christian person, and so faith has a major part in my life and in what I believe in and the way that I carry myself and the way that I, like my outlook on life overall. And faith, it all comes back to faith. Without faith, we really have absolutely nothing, because we are believing in a God that we can't actually physically see, hold, touch, and we can't actually hold it within our hand. And it's the same with the ambitions that we have for our own life. When we have an ambition, a goal, an aspiration that comes into our mind, it's not normally something that we can physically touch. Like, yes, we can write it down, for example, but you can't actually physically hold that thought within your own hands. And so it comes back to having the faith. So faith is the ability to see the invisible and to believe in the incredible. And how phenomenal is that? Is that we can bring something into our lives that is absolutely incredible. And from my perspective, faith is the first thing that gets us on that path to bringing the incredible things into our lives that we so deserve, that we so desire, that we so want, that we so strive for. Okay. And when you have this, when you have the ability to see the invisible and you have the belief in the incredible, that will permit you to receive what the masses call as impossible. And this is it. When we have a vision come into our mind, so often the first thought that we will have is, that's impossible. How can that ever come to fruition? And this is when we need to really flip what we're thinking and what we're doing and switch that around. So if we say, okay, let's use investment into real estate as an example. If you say to yourself, I want to invest into an investment property and start earning an income off that investment property. How do you make this happen? You might get the first thought that comes into your mind and you think that's just impossible, when really and truly it's actually not. You actually need to say, well, no, I believe in this. I have the faith that I have the ability to bring this into my reality. I have the faith, I have the ability to manifest this vision for my own life. We know, we fully understand like the expense and how high up there investing into property really is. It takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of wealth behind us to actually start an investment portfolio and then to build on that portfolio. But ultimately, if you've got the faith and if you've got the vision in your mind, it's up to us. We have a responsibility to nurture that vision and to hang on to it and to really feed it and to really start to invest in it. And we have the power within us to take any image that comes into our mind and instantly move it into form. So how can we do this in an investment sense? Like say, okay, I want to start to manifest manifest building an investment portfolio for my life, for my family. You know, we all have different directions that we're going in. And so I really encourage you to get super clear on what that looks like for you. So first and foremost, what do you think ticks your boxes? So for example, is it, and like we're talking investment property, so is it a house? How many bedrooms does it have? You know, what is it structured with? Is it brick? You know, like what sort of the house is it built out? Is it a timber house? Is it a steel house? You know, is it a shed that's been turned into a house, for example? Is it a townhouse? Is it an apartment? What does that actually look like specifically for you? And you might say, okay, I want to buy an investment property in this particular area. For us, our investment criteria is in less populated areas, so rural areas, remote areas, you know, areas where people like are there, the economy is moving, there's a lot of movement happening in remote and rural towns, and that is our investment strategy. We don't look to invest, for example, on the east coast of Australia, because it's already so heavily populated, it's already very, very dense over there. And of course, when you get to more populated areas, that's when the price of houses and investment properties go through the roof. Whereas our strategy is to focus on not so populated areas, remote, regional areas, so that way we can scale a lot faster than what you can if you were investing in the city. That's not to say that investing in the city is the wrong thing to do. If that's your strategy, then you embrace that and you feed that and you nurture that. You have the faith to bring that vision into reality. Okay, this is the tactic. This is how we invest. How you invest might be totally different, and that's perfectly fine. So what I'm trying to say here is, if you have the faith to say, I will and I can, I'm going to invest into an investment property to ultimately have a side income. I love multiple streams of income. We'll go into that on a different day, but it's all about how can you have more than one income coming into your life. And if that's an investment property, I really want to inspire you and encourage you to tap into that right now. Tap into it, like sow that seed within your mind, sow that seed of faith that I will own an investment property by this point. You know, set a date on it, really strive for it, like really lay the boundaries, like lay the foundations now, feed that seed of faith and really strive for it, because we have to embrace, as Bob said, we have the ability to see the invisible, so that we've already started on that. If we say, okay, I want to buy an investment property, we've already sown the seed of invisibility into our mind. We already have the ability to see ourselves owning an investment property. And we have to believe in the incredible, because investing into an investment property, let's say this is the example that we're using, that is an incredible thing that we all have access to in our lives. We all have access to investments. We all have access to sowing the seed within our mind to say, I am worthy of owning an investment property. I will own an investment property. I will make this another stream of income for my life, for my family, for my ambitions, for my dreams. You know, we might have a goal of being financially free by this point in our life, this age in our life. Well, what does that look like? How can we start striving for that now? And not so much just financially free, but free in time, you know, free in responsibilities, free in the stresses of life. This is how we build ourselves up, and this is why we need to start to sow these seeds of faith in our mind to say, we'll own an investment property because it is going to achieve A, B, C for me and for my family, okay? And so when you take this image within yourself and when you start to really nurture that is when it will start to manifest into your reality, and that is when you will bring it into form in your own life. So sow that seed, get that seed in your mind and really start to nurture it and really make it a reality. And having faith in believing what you want is so powerful. I can't emphasize enough the power of faith. You might have a different word for faith. I mean, I use faith because that's a word that I love. But faith to me is absolutely everything, because as Bob said, it helps us believe the incredible. It gives us the ability to see what is classed as impossible, right? And so we really need to sow the seed of faith in our life, and we really need to cherish that and really feed that as we go. And I really want you to capture this vision within your mind and to know exactly what it is that you want. Really manifest that into your life. You know, and I want to lay out some steps that we take when we get a vision. So just to give you some context about what I speak of when I mean have the faith. So at the beginning of almost every day, I won't say every day because there are days when I miss, but almost every day I will sit down and I will write out exactly what our ambitions are for a set time frame. So by the end of 2026, so by December 2026, we will own X amount of investment properties. We own a self-storage company. So by this date, we will have X number of facilities operational and running. Okay, this is what I do every single day. And there has been time after time when the effort that I have put in to nurture the faith and to truly believe in the vision and the ambition and the goal has reaped unbelievably to us. It has been so successful. I think it's happening, bringing into our reality, different things that we think about and that we believe. It happens to us all the time. But when we're made conscious of it, that's when we can really leverage that then, and we can say, this actually works. We have the ability to create a vision for our lives. So we have the ability to manifest that vision, that faith, into reality, and it's up to us to put the work in. We can't look over our shoulder at what our neighbor is doing. We can't look over our shoulder about what our family is doing, what our brother is doing, what our sister is doing, even what our spouse is doing, because they are not you. They don't have your mind. They don't have your direction. They don't have your willpower. They don't have your ambition. They are not you. And so it's up to us. We have to be individually responsible for sowing the seed of faith in our mind to start with, and then nurturing that to create, to build the reality, to create the life that we truly want for ourselves. And so the steps that I really wanted to go through, I actually got them written down here, so I didn't forget to miss one. But first is to capture. So capture your vision in your mind, okay? Know exactly what that is. Capture the vision. Write it down. We have to write stuff down. People, I hear it said so often that I don't like writing, I don't know how to write. But when we actually write stuff down, we are taking it out of ourselves and we are putting it out there, and we are making it our reality before it is even there. Okay, so capture it. Know exactly what it is that you want to achieve. You want to nurture that vision. You want to feed it every single day. Nurture your vision. Even if you get discouraged, I get discouraged regularly. Okay, I am only human, and it is only human. It is only our human nature that we all have human nature, and that always brings in discouragement. And you'll see something that'll just trigger you, right? There'll be some event or some phone call or some news article or something that you will just make you topple off the edge, so to speak, and you'll feel down in the doldrums, and you'll want to throw your hands in the air and walk away. I get discouraged every single day of my life, but that is why I sit down and I write out every single day, this is what I'm going to achieve, and I already believe that I have achieved it, even if it's not exactly physically in my reality. I still believe that I have achieved what I want to achieve, okay? So we have to have this strength within ourselves to nurture our vision, our faith, our ambition every single day of our life. Put that in your mind, sow it in your mind, and nurture it and feed it, and really strive to vision it every day, and then it will ultimately bring it into your reality. You want to embrace the freedom that comes with that vision. So already see yourself as earning income from an investment property, for example. See yourself, putting a tenant into your property, whether that be a house or a commercial property, industrial property. See yourself doing that. See yourself, having that recurring revenue every week. When you have a tenant in your property, when your property is leased out, every week you have income coming back into your life that you otherwise could have potentially not had. Okay, so really embrace that. Really see yourself. See those figures coming in. Like this is just all a mental exercise. See those figures coming into your bank, on your bank statement. See those figures coming in from renting out your investment property. See that financial gain coming from what you are trying to manifest into your reality. And the last one, this is the biggest one, and this is what I really want to encourage you to take as a takeaway today. Protect your vision with your life, okay? When you get a vision in your mind, when you have this seed of faith for what you want to achieve for your life sown within your mind, you want to be extremely careful about who you share that with. Sometimes there's things that come into my mind that I am even very careful with, that I don't share even with my husband, who I adore greatly. I have an amazing relationship with my husband. But sometimes we get a vision in our mind and we need to keep it to ourselves until that vision, that faith of that vision has grown strong enough, deep enough, that it is solid enough that when we share it, and if we share it and somebody, has some form of negativity or knockback or doubt, that when that starts to come in, it has no effect on us. So this is why you need to protect your vision with your life. Be so careful who you share what your vision and what your aspirations are. Be careful who you share that with, because you do not want to have this ultimate vision for your life and you go and share that with somebody and they knock your confidence, and then you can't reinstate that vision, that faith back into your mind and into your life. Okay, so that is the most powerful message I think that I could ever share, is be so very careful who you talk to and who you share your aspirations and your dreams and your faith with, because you do not want to have that knockdown. You do not want to suffer from discouragement. You don't want to fall into a place of struggle because you shared what your vision was and somebody didn't agree with it or didn't align with them. Our visions with somebody else are not supposed to be in alignment. We are individual human beings. We have our own individual mind. God has blessed us with the ability to have our own vision. And so this is why we need to be so careful and that we protect what comes into our mind, because if someone sows a seed of doubt within your mind, that is the most hardest thing to eradicate them, because as soon as you start to think about what you want to achieve, what your ambition is, that seed of doubt is the most strongest thing that will ever be planted within your mind. It will be the most hardest weed you can ever pull out of your mind, okay? Because you can't unhear fear, you can't unhear, uncertainties, you can't unhear discouragement, and so be extremely careful. And then once you feel like as though your vision is solid enough within your mind, your dreams, your aspirations, you've built the foundation that your faith is solid, right? What you need to do then is you need to build a barrier. So you don't just raise that. Once you think you're solid enough, you don't raise that, but you need to build a barrier to say within yourself that if I hear any sign of negativity, of discouragement, of disbelief, whatever it looks like, you need to have a barrier there that does not penetrate. And you have to say, nope, that is not for me. That thought has no place within my mind, in my life. It has no place with me. So if somebody says, so say for example, you've got this vision of an investment property and somebody says, oh, the banks will never lend you money to buy that house. You just say instantly, that thought is not for me. It has no part in me whatsoever. You need to be very, very strong and very, very definite on your barrier. Okay, so you do not let anything come in that wants to knock your faith down. All right. So I think I've gone over everything that I wanted to share today. I just really want to encourage you first and foremost to sow the seed of faith in your mind, to get that vision in your mind, to really start to embrace, this thing that you want for your life, and to also remember to don't ever be embarrassed or don't ever feel inferior to your vision. If you have a vision that comes into your life, you are blessed with that, and I want you to really, really embrace that and to succeed with that, because you are so worthy of the vision that has been sown within your mind. And that's what I want to really encourage you with today, to start to vision something for your life, and honestly, vision multiple different things for your life, because we are so worthy of every gift that is instilled within our mind. So folks, I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll leave it there. I'll be back again with another inspirational wealth mindset message a bit later down the track, but I will leave it there. I hope you have a beautiful day and keep living the dream. See you later.